Okay, let's return to the NAS project. This video is going to contain a hardware overview and basic settings check on this. It's not going to be any software installation or anything like that. It's really going to be a short, sweet, and to-the-point video. It's also not a how-to like the rest of this series will be. It's not how-to series because, frankly, there are better ways to do this, and there are practices that I am probably not following. And even though I'm mentioning that it's not a how-to video and it's not something that you should follow, I guarantee you there are going to be a billion comments. People saying, "You did it all wrong, blah, 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 blah." To which I reply, well, isn't that nice? But guess what? I don't care. Anyways, since the last video, which was a case swap, I've changed the configuration a little bit. You can see there's a hard drive there. There used to be a floppy drive. I took the floppy drive out because I didn't need it, and there's no reason to have big, bulky cables like this junking up the case when it's not really necessary. Likewise, I also removed the CD-ROM drive because it's not really necessary. I didn't really mention much about the hardware base of this. It is an Asus P5PE VM, and if you're building a NAS, you really shouldn't be using an Asus motherboard. I'm sure I'm going to get 100 comments about that comment too. Even though it's a joke, people really need to lighten up. It's got an Intel Pentium D CPU, 64-bit capable dual-core. Kind of a piece of junk, but oh well. This is also not really in a good place. You shouldn't do that, but I don't really have much of a choice. There's no space in this case for anything. I'd rather have a modular power supply, but I'm not going to spend any money on this project. And that brings me to another point. This is not really the correct way to build a NAS. A proper network-attached storage appliance should be reliable, robust, and be highly available. Using old hardware like this, that's really not designed to be a server of any kind, in a server application, is not any of robust, reliable, and highly available. At least not theoretically. It could be, but you never really know. You're just setting yourself up for a whole lot of grief if you do it this way. But of course, I'm a cheap bastard, and everybody knows this. Well, if you didn't, you do now, so that's what's going on. I'd really love to cut back on the big, bulky IDE cable, but anyways, I have a Hi-Point Rocket RAID 1740 RAID card installed. I forget all the limitations of it. I think it's SATA 3, 2 terabytes per array maximum, but that's not really a big deal here, where the drives are 80 gigabytes in size. But I have made some changes to this as well. You can see this black cable, which wasn't there before. It's going to this drive, which I am using as a hot spare. Because it's lying around, I might as well use it to do something. And actually, I put it in the HP DX5150. But since I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with that HP yet, actually I have. It's going to replace that down there, but that's not really privy to this video. This drive can just come out of there, and I can use this in here to replace the floppy drive. I really would have rather put the blank over this, but I have this display that I gotta figure out where to put if I do that. So, yeah, we just won't do that at all. And say that we did. I could, actually, and I may do it. If I can find the part, it should be on the floor somewhere. I could probably use the front panel thing, just tape the display to the front of this. Actually, I might do that. That might be a good idea, eh? Just do it like that. I don't think I can, though. I think it's got a it's got a Molex power connector on it, and that will not fit through this. Not without some modifications. I might modify it. It's plastic. No big deal. I'll never use the front panel crap anyways, and when I'm done with this case, it's going in the trash. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, I also added this 80 gigabyte IDE drive, and this is going to be for backups. Because once again, I'm not putting all of my eggs in one basket. I'm not trusting RAID to save my bacon, even with a hot spare. That's going to be for backups, so if something were to ever happen to the RAID array, well, the backups are still there. I've got them. I won't lose any data like that. Of course, once again, that's still not necessarily the most robust. I should put a fan in the back here, but I don't have any 120mm fans lying around. I had to borrow some from work, which wouldn't be too hard, because I'm not going to put this thing into full service until Well, until I get more IEC power cords, because I don't have enough of those. Alright, I'm going to put the case back on, and we'll go ahead and fire it up and have a look at some of the other bits and pieces. Okay, so it's all cabled up. When I flip the switch on the back, it'll fire right up. Just like that. There's my lovely display. We're going to go delete to get into system setup. So we're going to have a look at that. There's the RAID card signing on. So there we can see all the configuration options. It is actually correct, which is a surprise. So there's the boot drive, the Quantum Fireball, and there's the second drive, which is another 80 gigabyte Western Digital drive. So we'll go down to system information, have a look at that. Actually, we'll go into IDE configuration. You can see it's in enhanced mode. It doesn't really matter. I don't have any serial ATA drives on the board, so I could set that to compatibility mode. What are the options that we actually get with that? Compatible mode. I could change it to that and it wouldn't matter, but I'm not going to, because there's no sense in changing what doesn't work. So we'll get out of this, which is really inconvenient because this keyboard is really inconvenient. Let's pull that out and actually have a look at this in a better way, so I'm not throwing the camera all over the place. System information, we can get an idea. There's the flash BIOS, there's the CPU. It's got 2 gigs of RAM installed in it. It's DDR, I think it's original DDR memory. Yeah, it's DDR. It's a P5PE VM, if I didn't mention that already. So all that looks okay. Shouldn't really be anything in here that I need to change. Display adapter priority should be internal. It's never going to have another video card in it anyway. I don't really need to have high graphics. We can just set that to 16 megabytes. MPS revision, I'm going to leave that alone. Onboard devices. We can disable the audio, we don't need that. Onboard LAN, we do need. I'll leave the serial and parallel stuff alone. PCI plug and play, all of that should be fine. USB configuration should be set up correctly. I unplugged that. I had a USB device plugged in. I was going to demonstrate that, but oh well, it doesn't matter. ACPI. That doesn't really matter. So there you got all that. Power button mode, on, off. Yeah, that's good. Everything there should be disabled, and it is. AC power loss should be power on, because I don't want to have to go down and turn this thing on every time the power fails, which shouldn't be very often, although the power here is rather unreliable. And CPU temperature is rather high. Not really sure why. Anyway, boot device priority. We don't have a floppy drive, so I wonder why it's saying there's a floppy drive. There's no diskette drive. This should be the Quantum. I don't have a CD-ROM. No, we'll leave that alone then. So there we go. There's the Rocket RAID card and the other drive. Boot settings configuration. Everything there should be okay. Alright. So we will now exit and save changes. So we have made some changes. You hear the fan go crazy. It's a Pentium D. Come on, folks. It's not really designed to run on heat. So we'll go into the RAID BIOS, and we'll have a look at what's going on in here. There's not really much to see. This video is pretty much almost over. I can't believe it's already run to 10 minutes long. So this is pretty much all the options that we get. This is how it's set up. The channel numbers seem kind of odd to me, but oh well, it doesn't matter. And they are, in fact, SATA 3. Unfortunately, the one drive that's in the array is SATA 1.5, so it's going to degrade the performance of the array, but then I don't really care about that. As long as it works, I'm not going to be storing anything that's of high availability to this thing. We do all the spare stuff. We can reinitialize drives. We can have a look at our array. It's a mirroring array. I wonder if I can change the name of this. No, I think it's stuck at media. It doesn't really matter. That should be enabled. Huh. It won't enable itself. Oh well, whatever, it doesn't matter. So, that's pretty much it for all of the configuration. And in the next video, we will be installing the operating system to it. But until then, this is CP666 signing off. I hope to see you next time. Till then.